What's up guys, it's Griffin and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I'm going to be covering another true crime case, and this case is about Jayme Kloss. This case is beyond frustrating because there's little to no information about anything, but it's a very frustrating case, and I wanted to definitely bring attention to this case because not only did two people lose their lives, but also someone could have potentially lost theirs, and they're also missing. Jayme Kloss is a 13-year-old 8th grader at Riverview Middle School in Barron, Wisconsin. She loves ice skating, jazz dancing, playing volleyball, hanging out with her friends, and spending time with her family. Her parents, Jaymes and Denise Kloss, both worked at the Jennie-O Turkey Factory for about 27 years. I don't know about you guys, but growing up, my dad always was watching different football games, and I was always hearing sports playing in the background. I can hear it now, like in my childhood. That's what I was experiencing left and right, and it sounds pretty much like Jaymes was the same. He loved watching all sorts of football games and sports games. Particularly his two favorite teams were the Wisconsin Badgers and the Green Bay Packers. Denise loved working with her flowers, putting up bird feeders. She loved angels and helping pretty much everyone around her as much as she possibly could. She also taught religion classes at St. Peter's Catholic Church. On October 15th of 2018, 13-year-old Jayme Kloss vanished after her parents were shot and killed inside their home. Police responded to the home after a strange 911 call was placed from the home itself. On the call, the dispatcher didn't actually speak to anyone, which is very strange, but the call was probably placed in hopes of someone hearing what was going on, hearing what was happening, and hopefully saving them from that situation. They think either something was on top of the phone muffling it, or the phone was at a distance from what was actually happening. All they disclosed about this call is that they heard distant voices and commotion. The call was placed around 1 a.m. local time, and it's unclear which side ended the phone call. Either way, the police called the number back and no one ended up answering. It went directly to Denise's voicemail. About 4 minutes later, police arrived on the scene, and the first thing that they noticed was the door was kicked in. Either this was done in an element of surprise, or it could possibly be someone who wouldn't be regularly allowed in the home if they were to knock. When the police first entered the home, Jaymes and Denise's bodies were immediately found, and Jayme was nowhere to be seen. Jaymes Kloss was found inside the doorway with multiple bullet wounds, and his wife, Denise Kloss, found inside with multiple bullet wounds as well. Jayme was nowhere to be seen, but the sheriff's department says there's evidence to prove that she was home at the time of the attack, though they did not divulge many details about that. Initially, investigators believed they narrowed down two cars that they thought had to do with the disappearance of Jayme Kloss or the death of her parents, and those two cars, I'm looking down at this information so I don't mess it up, but the two cars were a 2008 to 2014 Dodge Challenger in a red-orange color and a 2006 to 2010 Ford Edge or 2004 to 2010 Acura MDX. They found the surveillance footage from different homes and businesses around the Kloss family home, but eventually they also announced that these cars probably don't have much to do with the disappearance and death of the Kloss family, so they aren't too concerned about these cars anymore, but they are still taking tips about these cars or about anything anyone may have seen. At the crime scene itself, there was little to no evidence, which suggests the killer wasn't in the home for long. Investigators didn't uncover any DNA evidence, fingerprints, shoe prints, anything along those lines. There was also no comments about what kind of guns were used or how many shots were fired. The only released evidence is that there were 3 bullet castings found at the crime scene, and that the cell phone used to call 911 was found in the doorway of the bathroom away from where the bodies were found. One of the neighbors mentioned they heard gunshots around 12:30, which doesn't make much sense because the phone call was placed shortly after 1 a.m., and that would place the killer in the home for around 30 to 40 minutes, which gives them a lot of time to leave any evidence behind, yet there was nothing. And if you think about that, if someone was in the home for that long, there's just no way that there wouldn't be evidence left behind. About 1 week after Jayme disappeared and this massacre happened at their family home, there was actually a break-in. There was a man named Kyle Jank Annis who was charged with breaking into the family home and trying to steal some of Jayme's clothing and underwear. There was a motion-activated camera placed by law enforcement, and they actually saw him breaking into the home, so they decided to surround the home until he came out with his hands up. When he did that, in his coat pocket they found her underwear as well as a pink tank top. He has been cleared in any involvement in this case, however, he is obviously being looked into for other reasons. More than 2,100 tips have been turned in, however, it has not led to anything. Even though volunteers have searched cornfields and cow pastures, there hasn't been a single bit of evidence turned up, so investigators are pretty much at a loss. About 2 months after Jayme went missing on December 15th at her middle school, they held a lighting and balloon release in honor of Jayme. I don't want to mess this up, so I'm going to read this. The balloons were green in honor of the green ribbon of hope for abducted children, and blue was also Jayme's favorite color, so they decided to get blue and green balloons for the release. This event was coordinated by her school, Arnlund Foods, and Jenny-O Turkey Factory, where her parents worked at. Right now, authorities are under the assumption that Jayme was abducted and that she doesn't have any involvement in the case whatsoever. And the victim's family is offering no insight as to why any of this could have possibly happened. The family hasn't been allowed to listen to the 911 call, which I find extremely weird because I think a family member could easily listen to that and tell you right away if they recognize the voice of someone else in this recording. They could possibly give some sort of insight, but maybe there is nothing that you can actually hear from this call, and that's why no one's allowed to hear it. But at the same time, why wouldn't they just let them listen to the call if there's nothing that you can hear? There haven't been any solid leads as to who's behind the murders and disappearance of Jayme Closs, and Sheriff Chris Fitzgerald said, "We have a double murder and a missing 13-year-old girl. There's not much more to tell than that, and that's the frustration." And that's entirely true. There's literally no other information, and I don't know if the police have other information that they haven't shared with us, but as far as what's in the media, there's not much. One lead that briefly caught their attention was a possible sighting of Jayme in Florida, but it turned out to not be her. So now let's get into the theories of this case. Theory number one is that some people believe Jayme had nothing to do with this. Possibly her parents, James and Denise, they were in some sort of trouble, perhaps financially, and they couldn't really find themselves out of it, and they ended up in this situation. A lot of people have figured out if this is the case, then why not also kill Jayme? Well, some people have a moral compass, even though it may not seem like it. They don't want to kill children. Especially if they knew the police were already on their way, they probably wanted to get out of there as fast as they could, so they probably just took Jayme with them and left as quick as they could. And it's actually a common thing for criminals to kill adults but not want to kill children, so they end up taking them with them. They just had some moral obligation to not kill a child. The second theory is that Kyle Jenkanis had something to do with it and wanted to break back into the home to hide some piece of evidence. Law enforcement cleared him as a suspect but didn't really release any information as to why they did that. I just think it's really suspicious that he broke into the home, but maybe it was a dare, maybe it was just something he would get a thrill out of, maybe he thought the family wasn't there, they were on vacation, the lights had been out. I don't really know what was going through his mind because police haven't released any information, but nonetheless, he has been cleared of any involvement. The reason I didn't touch on any of this information that's coming out in this third theory earlier is because all of it is speculation. There's no actual proven facts about this, but some people believe that Jayme had a 19-year-old boyfriend and that maybe he had something to do with it. He could have manipulated her into doing something with him, and maybe she had something to do with her parents' death as well. Or he could have manipulated her into letting him into the home and killed her parents out of anger if her parents were making her break up with him, or if they found out about the relationship and they weren't happy, something along those lines. But again, these are all theories and no one really knows what's going on, and I didn't really want to mention this in the actual facts of the case because this isn't a fact at all. If any of you guys know Jayme Closs, know any of this information, please confirm or deny this information in the comments below because I don't want any false information out there, obviously, but I am trying to share all theories that I have seen. The fourth and final theory is that someone wanted to abduct Jayme. They got infatuated with her because her mom and her dad often posted a lot of things about her and were not very private on social media, neither was she. So maybe someone got obsessed with her, broke into her home, killed her parents, and took Jayme for themselves. I really don't know what theory I believe the most. I possibly think that maybe her parents were in trouble or someone became infatuated with Jayme, but again, I really don't know because there's no information, there's no evidence. But if you guys know something that I don't, or if information comes out by the time that this video is posted that isn't included in this video, then make sure to comment it down below and share with people so that we can keep updated on this case together. There's currently a $50,000 reward being offered for any information leading to Jayme. One of the sheriffs, despite how long it's been since Jayme has disappeared, believes that she is still alive and that they can find her. So if you guys have any information, please call the tip line at 1-855-744-3879. Again, that's 1-855-744-3879. Jayme is described as 5 feet tall, 100 pounds with strawberry blonde hair and green eyes. If anyone has any information, call that tip line. I know that there's more information, that someone knows something, so if you guys know anyone in the area that this case happened in, please share with people in that area, share everywhere on social media, and just try to get the word out about Jayme and her disappearance, and let's try to bring Jayme home. Even if you share the smallest information that you might have with police, it can crack the case wide open, because it might be the one tip that they were looking for, the one clue that they needed to shut the case. So if you have any information, please call that number, and together let's try to bring Jayme home. I love you guys so much. Thank you for watching. Please stay tuned for the rest of this week. I have lots of videos coming at you, and I will see you guys later. Bye.